Welcome back. So, already we have done the definition of capital goods. I hope you have enjoyed it, and let me make it also enjoyable. Easily you should be in a position to remember also. Once you do definition, maybe you found the definition of input also a little bit lengthy, but it is not lengthy. If you can put it into size, cut it into size, proper size, that is going to be easy. It will be under your control, just like a snake under control when it is put in the box. Okay? So, what is input? But in general sense, input means something used to produce something. But input may be direct or indirect, direct material, indirect material, that concept everybody knows. Here what is input? Input basically goods only. That is the reason why, if you look at this, you please see the goods. So, basically I am talking about goods. So, inputs are basically goods. So, I have written here as goods. Inputs means goods, right. So, it is in two parts. In first part, the definition talks about the goods which are treated as inputs for the purpose of CENVAT credit, and in the second part it gives a list of goods which are not qualifying as inputs, which are not inputs. So, they are A, B, C, D, E, F, right. So, capital goods definition is in A, B, C, D, okay, A, B, C, D. A for list of capital goods and B and C for service specified services, where their motor vehicles are treated as capital goods for such specified service providers. D is simply talking about clarification, that is component spares. So, ABCD capital goods definition is in ABCD, whereas this definition is in negative list is in ABCDEF. The primarily what is input that has been given, it is in 5 parts. Recently they have added the 5th part, otherwise there were 4 parts, now 5 parts, and these are for manufacturer and service provider. Some are exclusively for a manufacturer and some are both for both manufacturer and service provider. Let us see, let us have a quick view and then let us analyze. Here there is not much to what you can say memorize or mug up or by heart, simply in a natural way it comes. See first one, let me come here, the first one, see the first one, goods used in the factory, all goods used in the factory. So, goods which are used in the factory are inputs. See how free and simple definition this is. Anything used in the factory, that is goods. Of course, disqualifications, this is subject to disqualifications. You have to check up with the disqualifications also. For example, A, B, C, D, E, F, they have given certain disqualifications which cannot be good, which goods cannot be inputs for the purpose of this CENVAT credit. For example, F, if you look at F, goods which have no relationship whatsoever with the manufacture of goods, manufacture of final products. Goods which have no relationship whatsoever with the manufacture of final products. I will read out that for your benefit. It says, any goods which have no relationship whatsoever with the manufacture of a final product. Suppose you use some paint, you paint the walls of the factory or gate of the factory. Factory gate is there, big gate, and you use some paint. So, whether the paint is, if you look at the definition of factory, everything within the precincts including the boundary wall, that is a factory. Lekin if you use some painting, paint is the paint input because it has no relationship whatsoever with the goods used in the factory. They are used in the factory, but it has no relationship with the manufacture of final products. Painting of a wall, the paint used for painting of a wall, it has no relationship with the manufacture of the product. You have to apply here, and but at the same time a paint which is used to paint a product or paint capital goods, machine equipment etc. used in the manufacture. Painting is necessary to maintain, it is a part of repair maintenance activity, and the machine, to maintain its position intact, you need some painting. That paint used in painting the machine or goods manufactured, that is input, because it has a relationship with the manufacturer. That way you have to connect, you have to see the connectivity. All goods used in the manufacture, okay, but subject to other disqualifications. So, you first of all in the first part we have to see what is goods basically and what cannot be goods, the exclusive list. What is excluding? That is A, B, C, D, E, F. Got it? So, all goods, first part, all goods used in the manufacture of final products, all goods used in the factory. So, that is talking about manufacturer. Factory means manufacturer. Second one is accessories attached to the factory. So, accessories attached to the final product. So, which are removed along with the final product, which are attached to the final product and which are removed along with the final product. Some product is there, so this is attached. Accessory means add on, extra item, but it is attached to the product and it is sold. If something is attached to the final product, automatically that attachee is also capital, E is also input. Suppose there is a two-wheeler and mirror is attached, and with mirrors the vehicle is dispatched, let us assume. So, the mirror, rear view mirror is an accessory, but that accessory is attached to the vehicle two-wheeler and motorcycle and it is supplied. So, this accessory is attached to and supplied, it is supplied with the final product. So, automatically that merits, that is also input. The mirror is a final product, sorry, the mirror is input because it is attached to the product. Similarly, goods used in the warranty, free warranty. So, what is the free warranty? They have explained. Suppose you supply some goods, you sell some goods, you manufacture and clear some goods under a warranty. Suppose there is a 1 year warranty or 2 years warranty. So, in the case of a 2 year or 1 year warranty, during the warranty period something went wrong and you have to replace, you have to use some goods to correct it, for repairing it, reconditioning it, or maybe you have to replace some part, remove that part and replace that part with a new part. On this part, in fact, you have to pay duty because you are removing, and this part or these goods used in the during the warranty period, they are also inputs, they also qualify, automatically you are eligible to take credit on them also. Done. The second part, naturally this also belongs to manufacturer, they are talking about manufacturer. All goods used in the factory and all goods attached with the final product or all goods used during the warranty period, obviously by manufacturer. Second two parts are manufacturers, you see, you understand. So, come to the third one, electricity, goods used in electricity, because everything is goods, that is why I have put here as goods. See, goods. So, goods used in electricity generation. So, for generating electricity, actually generation of electricity is a manufacturing activity. Transmission, of course, a service. So, you are producing electricity. For producing electricity, whatever be goods you use. And recently they have added one more thing, that is for pumping of what you can say water. Goods used in generation of electricity or pumping of water. You see, they are also inputs provided that they are used for captive use. Captive use means fact they are captively consumed. Here there is no detail whether it is for manufacturer or service provider. So, we can presume that whether it is a service provider or manufacturer, he is using pumping water, but mostly the manufacturers will be doing it, but electricity generation, that is a manufacturing activity obviously. But if that is used by a service provider, that is a debatable issue. Automatically we should say that that is available, that facility is available to service provider also, for service provider also, that is input, that becomes a debatable issue. But practically for generation of electricity or for pumping of water, if you use any goods, again they are inputs. But remember, these are subject to disqualifications. What is the disqualification here? Under part A, there is a disqualification, that is diesel, that is high speed diesel used for vehicle running the vehicles, and light diesel oil used in industries, in boilers, etc., and petrol, that is called motor spirit. Petrol, diesel and light diesel oil, these are disqualified because they are not inputs. Because they are not inputs, even if they are used in electricity generation or from pumping of water, sorry, they do not qualify as inputs. So, you have to read everything subject to disqualifications given in A to F. Okay. So, any goods used in electricity generation or pumping of water, which are captively used by the user, are inputs, provided that they are not diesel, petrol or high speed diesel, because there is a disqualification under part A. Done. So, next one is obviously goods used for providing output service. This I say, this is specifically for service provider. This is peculiar, specific to service provider. Any goods used for providing output service means direct use. If there is any indirect use, that does not qualify. Goods must be used directly to provide output service. Any goods, okay? A beauty parlor people, they are using facials, they are using some material for facials. For facials, whatever material they are using, face wash or facials, that is input, they can take credit. If they use to clean the floor cleaning material, that does not qualify, because they are not using to wash the face, they are using to wash the floor. Okay. So, goods used for providing output service, always remember, whether it is input service or capital goods, the goods must be used directly to provide output service. Okay. So, the fifth one recently added, that is capital goods. Capital goods are inputs. Okay. How? When? Capital goods whose value is up to 10,000 rupees per piece. Per piece, the value of the capital goods per piece is up to 10,000 rupees, means I include 10,000. If it is beyond 10,000 rupees, it is capital goods. It is up to 10,000 rupees, one piece, each piece whose value is not above 10,000 rupees is capital, is input. So, all capital goods up to the value of 10,000 rupees per item or per piece is capital goods. Suppose you purchased some capital goods, some item which is 9,000 rupees. It is no doubt it is capital goods by definition and given under rule 2A, because its value happens to be less than 10,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees. It is treated as input. Only difference is, if it is input, you will be getting 100% credit. If it is capital goods, you will be getting normally 50%, unless it falls in exceptional cases. So, the only difference is you will be getting credit whether it is input or capital goods. If it is input, it is 100% at a time immediately, otherwise it is maybe 50% and 50% delayed. there is a delayed gratification in case of capital goods, but that is not there in the case of those capital goods whose value is not about 10,000 rupees. Okay. So, these are 5 categories. Now, you can easily remember, recapitulate. These are the 5 categories which are inputs. So, what are the 5 categories? Goods, you see, goods used in the factory, all goods, of course, you have to check up. Goods which have no relationship whatsoever with the manufacturer, they are not goods, they are not inputs. Second one is goods cleared with the product, attaches, accessories. See, accessories are goods used during the warranty period, but the warranty charges have already been collected by you. So, then this qualifies as input, and automatically whatever goods you use there on that, you can take CENVAT credit. And look at the other one. Third one is pumping of water, electricity generation or pumping of water, goods used in electricity generation and pumping of water there. And last, next one, goods used by service provider for providing output service, direct use. And last but not least, capital goods, capital goods whose value is up to 10,000 rupees. Each item or the lump sum of the goods is not about 10,000 rupees, up to 10,000 rupees worth. But if a single piece is above 10,000 rupees, then it is capital goods, only 50% you are taking. Small value 10,000 rupees, government thought let us treat it as input and let us allow 100% credit. So, they say that we treat it as input and you take 100% credit, which it means the message is very clear. So, 5 categories now you can remember easily. So, one is all goods used in the factory, subject to of course F, and number 2 goods accessories A. First one is all goods used. So, the clue word is factory, goods used in the factory means clue word is factory. Second one is accessory A, F A, factory used as accessory or warranty, AW you can say. Third one is electricity E, generation of electricity or pumping of water. And the fourth one, you know, goods used by service provider, that is S, service. Okay? That is for S, service. And last, small value, yes, capital goods up to 10,000. So, it is like this. All goods used in the factory, the clue word is F, accessory or AW, accessory or warranty, AW. And the third one is electricity, FAE, electricity or pumping of water. And fourth one is service, to provide service. And last one is capital goods, 10,000, value is 10,000, FAES 10,000. So, what is inputs? It is in your fingertips, it is on your fingertips. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all goods used, goods cleared with the final product, that is accessories or goods used during warranty period W, and then electricity generation or pumping of water, goods used in this. Fourth, service, to provide output service. And fifth, 10,000 whose value is not about 10,000, fingertips, 5 fingertips, done what is inputs. And you see the disqualification, what is not input. So, here what is not inputs, that has been given, see A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, you see, you are able to see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, sorry, A, B, C, D, E, F, not G, H. So, A for automobiles, auto fuel. So, A for auto fuel, say I put it as A for auto fuel, not necessarily auto fuel, but I am using clue word. So, diesel, that is high speed diesel oil, that is used in vehicles, and light diesel oil and petrol, that is called motor spirit. Motor spirit is petrol. These are not inputs, means blanket disqualification. means these are not at all inputs wherever you use. Even if you use it in electricity generation or for pumping of water, please forget, not possible, because these are not deliberately specified. A for auto fuel and B for building. I use clue word B for building, just a clue word B for building. What is that B? It is in two parts, part A and B. See, this is for construction work, civil work, goods used in construction service, you can say, construction work or construction service or works contract service. So, works contract service may be for movable property or removable property. So, relating to civil works, it is talking about civil works. Construction or execution of works contract of a building or civil structure are a part thereof. Construction activity or works contract activity relating to civil work or fixed immovable property, this is not. Similarly, B, it is about laying a foundation, say erection, etc., etc. Sometimes some plant and machinery is to be erected, installed. So, for that some foundation is there. For foundation, maybe you are using steel, cement, etc., etc. Sorry, that is not treated as inputs. Steel, cement, etc., whatever material you are using for laying a foundation or making structure for support of capital goods. For support of capital goods, if you make structures, even sometimes it is done in mines. So, mines supporting structures are made and systematically they are mined, mining activity. Sorry, that does not qualify because it deliberately says part B, such building material and materials used in works contract or iron, cement, steel or other materials used in laying a foundation or some capital structure you can say support of capital goods, structure made to support capital goods, they do not qualify unless there is an exception, except for the provision of service portion, in the execution of works contract or construction service. What is that exception? This is a very, very important point. You please read this with service tax. So, exception means these are still inputs as per the exception. What are they? When used in the service portion. So, service portion, to the extent of service portion, these are service portion in works contract, service portion in works contract or construction service, means in part A the service portion, if the goods if some goods are used for service portion, to that extent they are inputs. It is a very, very deep, say sometimes you will not be getting clarity on this even in standard textbooks, you do not get it, but I have searched for only in 1 or 2 books there is some mention, and in most of the books available in the market then they are not explaining, unfortunately. So, I thought I should explain. See, look at works contract service, look at construction service. Maybe you studied service tax or you are yet to study, I do not know. When you study service tax, you please try to relate that to this. Works contract service under section 66E, I think part B, clause B, works contract service is a taxable service, it is a declared service. 66E is a declared service, and I think GHI is 10, GH, I think G, section 66E clause G, you please verify, deals with works contract service. So, What happens in works contract service? In works contract service, goods portion is there and service portion is there, and service portion service tax is levied and collected, and on goods portion in fact the state governments will collect VAT or CST, but such a situation will ease out once GST happens to be implemented. Once GST comes, both are treated under one head. There is nothing like service, there is nothing like goods, it is simply supply. But till then they have to be treated separately. Works contract, some portion is sale of goods and some portion is provision of service. And if any goods are used in the service portion of works contract or even in construction activity, that service portion, the goods service portion, to that extent they constitute inputs, they are considered inputs, and then you will be getting CENVAT credit because they are inputs. So, I am tempted to go ahead to explain further and give some examples. Please you come back when you do services, service tax, when you watch the video lectures of service tax, you particularly about declared services, you please come back immediately and try to relate this. So, I am going ahead. Say declared services, and please come back and do declared services. So, declared services under section 66E. So, one is construction service. Okay. This construction service is actually say section 66E, I think clause B. You please check up, these are things to be mugged up, you have to remember. And here in construction service, of course, this falls under construction service only when the amounts are received before work completion certificate is issued, otherwise it is a sale of immovable property, only stamp duty is payable. So, before works completion certificate, whatever amounts you have received, that is a part of construction service. So, this is a construction service done. So, in this construction service, you are using material, construction material, and services you are using, and capital goods you are using, equipment, etc. So, capital goods which qualify as capital goods, say for example, tippers and dumpers, they qualify as capital goods, like that whatever qualify. So, you will get CENVAT credit no on this material part, because it is a part of sales tax on which sales tax is collected. So, whatever, if at all, normally sales tax paid goods are used in construction material. So, that does not affect, but here it is not input. No doubt for sales tax purpose VAT ITC may be available, and you may get ITC and pay sales tax after deducting ITC, VAT or CST, but here it is not input. And services, yes, they qualify, because these services, on input services you are getting CENVAT credit, and on capital goods also, yes, you are getting CENVAT credit. And similarly, you can better understand the concept here. You see, works contract service. So, in works contract service, you see goods portion and service portion is there. Maybe you studied about this at your IPC level, I presume you studied. If you did not study, do not worry, now you are studying. No? Final means final, everything is final. See, goods portion and service portion, okay? Goods portion and service portion, it is segregated. How it is segregated? You will study, you will learn in service tax. So, on goods portion VAT or CST is collected. If it is interstate sale, it is CST, if it is local sale, it is VAT. So, obviously, ITC is available on goods portion. On purchase of goods, whatever VAT you have paid, if you pay VAT, if you pay CST, you do not get ITC, you do not get credit, you know. So, in this actually if ownership is said to be transferred in the goods. Unless the ownership is transferred, how can there be a sale? Because it is a deemed sale. So, whatever goods portion on which ownership is transferred, that is treated as sale, and on the sales value VAT or CST is payable, that is collected subject to ITC if any. So, ITC you are getting on goods portion, you are not getting CENVAT credit because this is not inputs, this does not qualify as input. What about the service portion? On service portion, service tax is payable, and obviously, whatever input services you use, so you will get credit on input services, whatever service tax you pay, and whatever excise duty you paid on capital goods, yes, you will get credit on capital goods also used in works contract. Okay? So, all is well that ends well, everything is okay. What about the language that it is used in the definition of input except for the service portion? Let me read out the language. I think they could have used better language, or they should have explained. They did not think of explaining. That is a big headache, and many people are not able to understand, much less the students. Students leave alone. Even professionals, I think they are not able to understand. They are not even explaining. See, let me read out for your benefit. It says, construction or execution of works contract of a building or a civil structure or part thereof, or laying of foundation or making of structures for support of capital goods, except for the provision of service portion. Except for the provision of service portion means goods used in works contract execution etc. are not inputs. Except means the goods used will be qualifying as inputs for the provision of service portion in the execution of works contract or construction service listed under clause B of 66E. Construction service listed under clause B of section 66E, but they have not mentioned the clause under works contract service, that is under G, I think 66G. So, the service portion, the goods for the used for the provision of service, goods used for the provision of works contract service, for the provision of construction service, except for the service portion, means if they are used in the service portion, they are sorry for the service portion they are. So, service portion, they are talking about service portion. What is it? What are the goods that are counted for service portion? That is an important point. See, goods in which ownership is transferred, that is not, that does not form part of service portion. Then which portion forms part? Consumables, utilities, use and throw, used up, consumed up. There are certain goods which are used up or consumed up, they are called consumables. Even in costing you study, in costing we treat them as indirect material mostly. Sometimes if they have direct connection with the manufacturer, they may be used under, they may be taken as the direct expenses, that is a different issue, but used mostly in costing point of view indirect material. Consumables or consumable stores or utilities in which ownership is not transferred, because ownership is not transferred, that is not added to the value of sales, these are not treated as sale of goods, then automatically they form part of service. They are added for service portion on which service tax is collected. Let me give you an example. In a works contract service, say for example, lubricant oil is used. I am not using diesel oil or petrol, because diesel, petrol, they are never inputs. Lubricant oil, say kerosene or naphtha or emery paper. Emery paper means paper used to polish, emery paper, or some other material, polishing material, use and throw, used up, or certain oils used, cutting oil, lubricant oil, etc., etc. Kerosene, because diesel is disqualified, but kerosene is not disqualified, kerosene is still input. So, like this, if these are used, something like this is used. Of course, electricity also falls under utility, but right now luckily on electricity there is no excise duty. Okay, otherwise it will also come here. So, electricity, diesel, petrol, so they are not there, but kerosene is there, lubricant oil, etc., cutting oil, brake oil, etc., etc., or certain materials use and throw, used up and consumed up. So, on which there is ownership is not being transferred. So, they are not part of sales value, because there is they are not treated as sale of goods, because they are used up, consumed up. So, on the above items, suppose you have paid excise duty, then what happens? These are inputs, you have paid excise duty, and value of these is not added to make it sales. So, sales tax is not payable on them, because ownership is not transferred there. These are automatically qualifying as inputs, because these are the value of this is added in service portion on which service tax is being collected. So, these qualify as inputs. Whatever excise duty is paid on them, you can take CENVAT credit, because the value of which is being added to service portion. I think I am done. You please do research further, but if you are not able to understand my lecture, you go through my video lecture again and again, and you do research, a little research you will get. Or maybe if you are able to look at the practical questions solved in VAT, how works contract, you have to go back to IPC level. So, how a practical question is calculated, how a practical question is solved in VAT. So, you will find there these consumables portion is not added to the value of sales, means it is treated as service portion, obviously on them, because these become inputs eligible for CENVAT credit, unless they are otherwise disqualified. For example, petrol, diesel and electricity. Electricity is non-excisable, no levy, and petrol and diesel, they are deliberately disqualified as input, disqualified as inputs. Other than those, whatever input, whatever material, whatever goods are used on which excise duty is paid, which are treated as service portion, they are automatically inputs. So, you have to read this very carefully. This is the area for which you do not have clarification outside. So, you have to get from here only, right. So, qualification, disqualification number 1, number 2, that is D. B means building, construction service, laying of foundation, etc., unless the goods are used in service portion of execution of works contract or construction service under 66EB. Okay. And C, what about this C? C stands for capital goods, because C is C anyway. C for capital goods, this fits into. Capital goods are not inputs, but there are 2 exceptions. One earlier exception and another one is recent exception. What is earlier exception? Capital goods used as exceptions. I am talking about exceptions where capital goods can be inputs. Yes, capital goods can be inputs. Capital goods are generally not inputs, but in exception capital goods are inputs. What are the situations? Number one, when capital goods are used as parts of the final product, or when they are cleared as final product, cleared with the final product. Say for example, motor car. Cars are manufactured. Car is a final product for a car manufacturer, but for a car maybe you are using what you can say headlights, maybe you are using battery, car battery. Battery is capital goods, or electrical equipments, electrical items are capital goods. You know of chapter 85 electrical goods, but the headlight etc., the headlight is a part of the car. Individually it is capital goods. When it is put in the car and supplied, though it becomes a component of final product, then such capital goods are inputs. You will get 100% credit, so to say. And similarly, and the recent one, capital goods whose value is not about 10,000 rupees. They use the language up to 10,000 rupees. What do they mean? They are inclusive, including 10,000 or excluding 10,000. They should have used the language not exceeding 10,000 rupees. That should have been given more clarity. Anyway, I treat it as 10,000 rupees not exceeding 10,000 rupees. So, any capital goods whose value per unit or per piece or per item is not about 10,000 rupees is capital goods. The is input now. So, we can take full credit. So, C for capital goods and D for driving. I used the technique clue word driving, because it is D is talking about motor vehicles. Motor vehicles in any case by any standard cannot be treated as inputs, not at all, dismissed, totally dismissed. Motor vehicles are not inputs, whether it is capital goods under the definition of capital goods or not. Simply they have written motor vehicles means all motor vehicles, they are not inputs. And E for employee, I use the clue word employee. E for employee, A B C D E F, and for each alphabet you assign. A for auto fuel, light diesel oil, high speed diesel and motor spirit, petrol, diesel and light diesel oil. A for auto, and B for building. So, works contract, construction, automatically they fall under, or anything to support capital structure, laying of foundation etc., whatever goods you use. It is in two parts now, but except the service portion. The service portion will be eligible as input if the goods are used in service portion, when they form part of service portion. They should have used the language when the goods used form part of service portion of works contract or execution of works contract or construction service. They should have used such a language. Service portion they say. Okay? And C for capital goods, but for capital goods there are two exceptions. The value of capital goods where it does not exceed 10,000 rupees, and capital goods which are used as parts or components of a final product, then the capital goods become inputs, otherwise capital goods are not inputs. And D for driving, motor vehicles, all motor vehicles are disqualified as inputs, they are not inputs at all. And E for employee, goods used in guest house, in a canteen, factories are having canteens, or guest houses, or goods used for self use or for the use of employees, they do not qualify. Okay? E for employee. So, let me read out the language for you. They say any goods such as food items, goods used in a guest house, residential colony, club or a recreation facility and clinical establishment, even in hospitals. Dispensary may be attached with the factory. Clinical establishment, when such goods are used primarily, when the goods are used primarily for personal use, or consumption of any employee, personal use or consumption employee. No, E disqualified, such goods are not capital goods. So, food items or medicines etc., self use or use of employees, primarily for self use or use of employees, no, they are not qualified as inputs. Next, F. F means falling apart, there is no clue word, goods which fall apart, which does not form part of manufacturing activity, goods which do not form part of, which do not have anything to do with. So, which goods which have nothing to do with manufacturing activity, for example, which have no relationship whatsoever, no relationship. So, no relationship with manufacture, no relationship whatsoever with the manufacturer. Sorry, I have already given you some example. Paint used for a wall of the factory, no relationship. And suppose some shed establishment, some shed is say scooter parking. For scooter parking nowadays, cycle parking is no more, because nowadays scooter or cycle parking you can put, shed is there. Does it have any relationship with the manufacturer? No. Gardening, say factory is maintaining a garden, greenery. So, for gardening purpose, whatever material is used, sometimes manure, fertilizer, it has no relationship whatsoever with the manufacturer. Maybe the gardening activity is attached with the factory, but whatever is produced here, they are not used in the manufacture of final product. Okay? Any goods which have no relationship whatsoever with the manufacture of final product, they are not inputs. So, A, B, C, D, E, F. So, disqualifications clear. So, let us see. The definition of input is given under rule 2K, rule 2K, rule 2 and K. What is input? There is a list 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5. Fifth one is recently added. See, so capital goods up to 10,000 rupees, they are inputs. And what about the first three? You know, all goods, A, all goods used in the factory, I will put it as F. The clue word is F. Okay. Here the clue word is F. For the first one, it is F. F means used in the factory. Then next, accessories or warranty. A, goods cleared with the final product, and C, third one is goods used with the cleared with the product. And what is the third one? You have to go back now. So, electricity generation. Na? Third one is goods generation of electricity, right? FAE, generation of electricity or pumping of water. Fourth one is specifically for service provider, service, to provide any goods used for provision of service, FAES. And fifth one is 10,000, simply clue word is 10,000, capital goods used whose value is not about 10,000 rupees, FAES. F for goods used in the factory, A for accessories cleared along with the final product, or warranty, goods used for warranty or during warranty period. And next, S E for electricity generation or pumping of water, and S for providing service. See, then if you look at these things, these are inputs, and what is not? What is not? A, B, C, D, F, these are not goods. A, B, C, D, F are not goods. A for auto, fuel, diesel, petrol and high speed diesel or light diesel oil, auto fuel, they are not. B for building, there are two things: construction or works contract service, whatever material, whatever goods used there, unless they fall under service portion, or for goods used for laying a foundation or for support of capital goods. B for building, oh done, you can say building material. And C for capital goods are not inputs, but there are two areas where the capital goods will be treated as inputs. One, when they are attached with the final product, just like car battery or headlights, or when the value is not about 10,000 rupees. Capital goods are not inputs unless they fall under these two category. D for driving. See, motor vehicles, all motor vehicles, they are not inputs. And E for employee use, employee or personal use, foodstuffs, etc. in clinical establishments, factory, wherever, guest house, wherever they are used, or in colonies, no. And F, no falling apart, no relationship, goods which have no relationship whatsoever with the manufacturing activity, they are not inputs. So, A, B, C, D, E, F are not inputs, but 1 to 5 are inputs. So, 1 to 5 FAES, okay, 10,000, FAES 10,000, and what is not input? A, B, C, D, E, F. Just like capital goods, you have nurtured the definition of inputs. I think you are comfortable. I feel I say that you are comfortable with the definition of inputs, right? Input definition is clear to you, I believe. May I believe? May I say that yes, you got it? Okay? So, I think I have done my part, and read the definition. And so, in Hindi it is said, बाएं हाथ का खेल. If you understand Hindi, you will appreciate what I mean. बाएं हाथ का खेल means you can do it hands down. Okay? So, enjoy, and we will come back to see definition of input services. After these two definitions, I do not think the definition of input service will pose any difficulty. I put it briefly, and still you will be able to manage everything, but the only thing is a small amendment is there in input service. So, I want to discuss what is input service defined under rule 2L. I will come back to do that. Okay.